Although I was a weakling in life, after my death, I was reborn as the king of monsters, Godzilla, and even acquired the monster sign evolution system. My name is Lin Shen, and I was a junior high school student. Because of a serious illness in my childhood, my body became very weak. I could only hang from the horizontal bar for a maximum of 8 seconds, manage a single push-up at most, and couldn't do a single sit-up. In the eyes of my classmates, I was a physical education failure, often mercilessly mocked and ridiculed by them. Even the gym teacher could only sigh upon seeing my impressive performance. One day, I received a package from the security guard at the entrance sent by my parents. Because the illness had depleted all our savings and left us with considerable debt, my parents were constantly working away from home to earn money to pay it off. Inside the package was my favorite Godzilla figure and an encouraging letter from my dad. He hoped I could be as strong and brave as Godzilla. As I read Dad's encouragement, my eyes moistened. I also wanted to be strong, but it was tough. Just then, my classmates snatched away my Godzilla figure, mocking me for playing with childish things and calling me unmanly. As I tried to take it back from him, he looked disdainful and threw the figure onto the road. I rushed towards the figure without a care, and just as I was about to reach it, a large truck came speeding towards me. With a loud bang, I was hit and fell into a pool of blood. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself in the ocean. Many sea creatures swam before my eyes. Is this my hand? And what's with this tail? At that moment, my mind was in chaos. Could this be the afterlife? Just as I looked around, a bright light appeared in front of me. Ding dong! Kun is online. Detected host has regained consciousness. Monster sign evolution system activated. Upon my inquiry, I learned that the Kun in front of me was actually a monster sign and evolution system, and I was the ancient overlord recorded in the classic of mountains and seas. The system displayed: host Lin Shen, a juvenile of the Thunder Dragon race, tyrant rank bloodline, weight 125 tons, height 7.9 meters, skilled in charging, biting, and dragon tail swinging. After shaking my tail and waving my claws to ensure this wasn't a dream, I signed into the system. Congratulations to the host for the first successful sign-in. Convert food into evolution points by devouring. Sign-in reward: S+ rank skill devour. Sign-in location: Mariana Trench. Just keep eating and you won't die. Speaking of eating, my stomach began to growl. It felt like I might starve to death if I didn't eat something soon. I noticed a light ahead. Many deep-sea creatures have bioluminescent bodies, so I slowly approached to see if I could eat it. After getting closer, I saw it was a deep-sea fish, looking extremely terrifying, with a huge mouth full of sharp teeth. We stared at each other for a few seconds, then we both turned and fled. The system mocked my clumsy escape. That fish isn't even as big as your palm. Why the heck are you running? What am I afraid of? Watching the fleeing fish, I flashed an evil grin. I sped up and used the dragon tail swing on the fish. With a pitiful scream, it was done for. I was frightened by my strength, but the system threw cold water on me. Don't you see how much you weigh now? Looking at the hideous fish in front of me, I couldn't bring myself to eat it, but to fill my stomach and not starve, I swallowed it directly. Ugly as it was, it tasted pretty good. Successful devouring of deep sea fish. Evolution points +5. First devouring completed. Acquired a C-grade special ability, illumination. Your dorsal fin can emit a faint glow. The system did not deceive me. I indeed gained a special ability and evolution points. The illumination skill activated and my dorsal fin emitted a bright light starting from the tail to the top of my head. This ability is quite good. It can attract creatures to come closer. Thus, I became an unfussy baby monster, beginning a frenzied devouring. The system notifications kept ringing, and my evolution points skyrocketing. +8, +5, +15, +50. Congratulations on your first devouring of a deep-sea barrel-eye fish, which grants you night vision comparable to an owl's, and you've acquired the special skill, night vision. I ate more seafood in one go than I had in my entire previous life. I have 1,000 evolution points. I want to start evolving. My body was immediately enveloped in a beam of light. Expended 300 evolution points for scale reinforcement. Expended 200 evolution points for claw enhancement. Expended 500 evolution points to increase size. I'm nearly a meter taller than before, looking much more robust. Becoming a 100-meter giant monster is definitely not a dream. So, I asked the system if I'm still on Earth, but the system told me to explore on my own. I scornfully said, system still playing coy with me. Do you think this is an exploration game? My sign-in location is the Mariana Trench, which means I'm still on Earth. But right now, I'm too weak and must stealthily grow stronger. Once I break through to the 100-meter level, watch me startle the beasts. Missile massages and magma baths are all no big deal. My goal is to sink the land of cherry blossoms and flatten the beautiful country. After setting a small goal, I started a new round of devouring. As long as I don't die, I'll eat like there's no tomorrow. Just as I was enjoying my devouring, a fish's eyes slowly opened below me, and a tentacle suddenly stretched out, firmly grabbing me. This turned out to be one of the deep-sea overlords, the giant squid, also known as Architeuthis. At that moment, I was as small as an ant in front of it. Just when I felt I couldn't breathe and was about to lose my life, a huge dark shadow enveloped us. Another ocean overlord appeared, a sperm whale, even larger, swam over our heads. Perhaps because I was too small, the squid let me go, turned to the sperm sperm whale and used its 10 tentacles to firmly control the sperm whale. The two ocean overlords began a fierce battle, bloodthirsty, reckless, furious. At this moment, I realized how foolish I was, thinking that being reborn as a monster meant I could lose myself in pride. But in front of these two behemoths, I was still that weak and powerless little weakling. Memories of being bullied and ridiculed by classmates surfaced in my mind, and I roared at them, "From now on, Lin Shen will become stronger. I will not avoid any difficulties or let anyone bully me again." I charged forward and bit into the squid, tearing off a piece of flesh, and began chewing it noisily. The taste was quite good, reminiscent of raw cuttlefish. Successful devouring of the giant squid. Reward plus 21 evolution points. A reward of 21 points for just one bite. This was a big win, so I began to frantically tear at the squid's tentacles, with the system's notifications sounding continuously. The squid was in so much pain it started rolling its eyes. "This is what you get for messing with me." While I was enjoying my meal, the squid released the sperm whale and glared at me angrily with its dead fish eyes. I was caught off guard and got entangled by the tentacles again. What's the meaning of this? Not going after the sperm whale and picking on me because I'm smaller? It really angered me. I bit into its tentacle and launched a fierce attack. "I'm a monster now. I'm not afraid of you, you dead squid." I kept gnawing at the giant squid's tentacles. It was so frustrated it started to bubble, preparing to attack me. Just then, the sperm whale smiled and bit into the squid's head. The two of us coordinated above and below, leaving the squid no chance to fight back. Moments later, the giant squid was completely devoured by us. We lazily lay in the water, belching contentedly. "You have successfully devoured the giant squid, earning 3,000 evolution points." My face lit up with surprise. Though I only ate half of the giant squid, the evolution points were indeed generous. Just then, the sperm whale looked at me, showing a sly grin. Seeing its expression, anger surged within me. "What the hell do you mean by that? Want to have a fight with me?" The sperm whale thought of eating me, but the image of being stabbed by the spikes on my back appeared in its mind, its face showing hesitation. This made me even angrier. "What's that look? You think you're better than me? Come on, fight me." The sperm whale turned its head away disdainfully and left. Watching its retreating figure, I put my hands on my hips. "Considering you helped me just now, I'll let you off this time. I want to upgrade." Again, a sphere of light surrounded me. Expended 500 evolution points. Scale reinforcement. Expended 500 evolution points. Giant claw reinforcement. Expended 500 evolution points. Fang reinforcement. Expended 1500 evolution points. Size increase. After the enhancements, my physique became even more robust, my lines more defined, weighing 179 tons and standing 10 meters tall, possessing S+ skill devour, C grade skill illumination, and E grade skill night vision. At this moment, I mused, if only there were a monster version of credit, then I could enjoy the pleasure of spending in advance. I started looking around to see if more giant squids were nearby. If I could get another 50, my size would break through the 50-meter mark. Whether it's a giant squid or sperm whale, they would all be crushed with one swipe of my claw. Congratulations on your first devouring of a giant squid. Receiving a special reward, a monster compass. System, you scared the hell out of me. Can you stop being so dramatic all the time? Skill unlocked. Monster level skill, monster compass. This compass can detect the presence of monsters. With this skill, I'm no longer afraid of being ambushed by the giant squid. To be safe, I've turned off the light emitted from my dorsal fin. Giant squid, see how I'll dominate you this time. So, I swam towards the deep sea. Over a few days, the giant squid was so frightened that it hid and dared not show itself. I shifted my luck to the shallow waters to see if I could find other prey. A week later, I paid the price for my decision. At that moment, I was so hungry I was dizzy. There were hardly any large fish in the shallow waters, not even enough to pick my teeth with a great white shark. Holding my rumbling stomach, I decided to sign in first. If I couldn't find food, I would return to the deep sea. Sign in location, Abyss Island Sea Area. Sign in reward, S-tier skill, burst breath. Gather all the energy inside the body and emit a devastating beam of light from the mouth, known as the strongest mouthpiece in history. Damn, I've unlocked an incredible skill. It looks like I've come to an amazing place. Just then, the monster compass detected many monsters on the island ahead, which must be uninhabited. So, I landed on this deserted island. What caught my eye were the largest flying insect in history, the Meganura, and one of the first invertebrates, the ancient centipede. I was overjoyed. This place is like my personal supermarket. I won't have to worry about not having evolution points anymore. As I was preparing for a survival challenge on the deserted island, several pterosaurs flew overhead, one of which attacked me directly. Was I being seen as prey? It seems I'm being underestimated again, but that little chicken claw did hurt a bit. So, I suddenly turned around, bit the pterosaur's wing, and yanked it down. It tastes like chicken, so crunchy. Congratulations on your first devouring of a pterosaur. Reward obtained, evolution points plus 1000. I've grown tired of seafood every day. It's nice to change things up. Since you won't come down, then let me try out my nirvana technique. My dorsal fin lit up, preparing to use the burst breath. The pterosaurs, seeing my stance, also shivered in fear. The next second, a small flame burst out from my mouth. I could hardly believe my eyes. What the heck is this situation? The pterosaurs felt their intelligence was insulted wilted and started getting ready to attack me. I quickly backed down. Calm yourself down, brothers. But they wouldn't listen to me. They dove down at me, pecking wildly at my body. System, damn it. What the heck is this lighter-like tiny flame? You call this a burst breath? The system, looking disdainful, replied, how could such a domineering move be used so easily? You need to focus, feel the energy flow through every limb, and finally, release it from your mouth. I was utterly confused. Little Kun, are you sure you didn't get the wrong script? This feels like those cultivation novel I've read. Teach me how to use it, quick, otherwise, I'm going to be eaten by my chicken nuggets. Little Kun said, I've already taught you the method. Focus your energy and gather your body's power into one point. At this moment, the pterosaur's attacks intensified, and I could only curl up with my head in my hands, hardly looking like the king of monsters. Just then, I remembered being bullied in my past life. I was also surrounded and beaten then. I concentrated on one person and knocked him over with all my might, and that's how I broke free from their siege. That's the feeling. Forget the pain, concentrate, and gather all your strength at your mouth. Burst breath. The pterosaurs in front of me were directly hit by this strike, and the powerful shockwave affected even a distant hill. Smoke was billowing out of my mouth, and I was stunned by the power of my strike. Damn, I actually did it. The power of that strike was incredible. However, it also drained a lot of my energy, making it feel like my body was being squeezed dry. I need to eat quickly to replenish the energy I've spent, but when I looked at the pterosaurs on the ground, they were all burnt to charcoal. So, with tears in my eyes, I ate them. I brought this upon myself. I can't blame anyone else. After eating the burnt pterosaurs, my mouth was extremely dry, and charcoal was all over it. So, I looked around for a water source to moisten my throat. Soon, I found a lake under the hill that had just been blasted. At this moment, I sensed something was off. Such a lake should have many animals coming to drink, but it was really quiet. Could there be some terrifying creature hidden in this lake? Just then, the small island in the lake started to move, and a huge ox stood up from the water. It's the mountain giant ox. Indeed, this island is home to various creatures. The mountain giant ox lives in lakes and river systems and can stay underwater for 4 days. Its back and flanks are covered with hard bones, and its mountainous back emerges from the water, forming a perfect camouflage. Just then, a crocodile suddenly bit the hind leg of the mountain giant ox, followed by several more crocodiles emerging from the water. These were king crocodiles, which lived in the Cretaceous period in Africa, and were one of the largest crocodile species that ever lived. They surrounded the mountain giant ox and began to attack. The water surface instantly turned chaotic, and the desperate cries of the mountain giant ox were endless. Moments later, the water calmed down, leaving only the stark white bones of the mountain giant ox. At this point, the king crocodiles noticed me on the shore, and everyone turned to look at me. No wonder no animals dared to drink here because of this group in the water. Looking at the situation, these guys wanted to challenge me. It's time to show them who is the top predator of the food chain. Just as the king crocodile opened its mouth wide and lunged at me, it suddenly stopped. A giant hand emerged from the hillside, firmly grasped the tail of a king crocodile, and then pulled it in, leaving only its bloodstains on the mountain. I couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. What kind of monster is that? Suddenly, a roar was heard, and a figure burst out, stepping on the king crocodile head. It was an ancient ape. It stomped fiercely on the king crocodiles in the water, then picked up a king crocodile and began to devour it. After eating its fill, it turned its head sharply to look at me and let out a roar. A wise man does not eat what is in front of him. I immediately smiled and waved my hand, indicating that I was just passing by and leaving now. But what I didn't know was that gorillas only smile when they are scared or nervous and raise their arms to dare another gorilla to hand over the prey, which, in their view, means stealing something or showing aggression. This guy thought I was making a scared face and waving for it to hand over its prey, mocking it, so it went berserk. It slapped itself hard, signaling it would teach me a lesson. It spread its feet and chased after me. What's happening? Wasn't everything fine just now? Just as it threw a punch at me, I dodged to the side and avoided its attack. Although this guy is strong, he is wide open with every move and full of vulnerabilities. Simple-minded idiot, constantly repeating the same attack pattern, wasting all that muscle. As it launched another punch at me, I seized the moment, dodged to the side, and then bit down on its arm, throwing it off balance with a toss. Immediately after, I struck hard on its legs with a dragon tail whip. As it fell to the ground, I raised my fist, ready to end the fight with a fierce uppercut. But I had forgotten the most important thing. My short arms are a real disadvantage. I broke out in a cold sweat. How could I have forgotten this? The ancient ape took advantage of this gap, charging right into me, sending me flying dozens of meters, and I crashed hard to the ground. This fool, whether in strength or agility, far exceeds me. I need to think of a strategy fast. At that moment, it leaped high and hammered down on my back. With my current strength, I simply cannot withstand it. With my skills now, I can only use burst breath to defeat it, but releasing the burst breath requires time to charge, and if I miss, I would really be in for it. So, I took advantage of its momentary distraction and bit its arm, holding on no matter how it slapped me. I clung on without letting go. After a while, my strength finally gave out, and it pried my mouth open. Suddenly, bursts of blue light emerged from my mouth, followed by a sensation as if electricity was flowing through my body. Feels good to beat me up while riding on me. me, doesn't it? The ancient ape, sensing danger, immediately jumped back to avoid my attack. But it wasn't that easy. I had anticipated its move and used my tail to wrap it up tightly. Trying to leave? Stop daydreaming and just take this blast. With a thunderous boom, my burst breath hit the ancient ape squarely, sending it flying dozens of meters. Even so, my prided burst breath only left a bloody wound on its body. I must admit, this creature's body is exceptionally tough. When I thought it would counterattack, it let out a frustrated roar and fled the scene. I actually beat the overlord of Abyss Island. I'll be the boss here from now on. At that moment, I suddenly felt a wave of weakness. I can't use burst breath twice in one day, and I'm drained again. But with the king crocodiles right in front of me, I couldn't let them see my vulnerability, or I'd end up like the mountain giant ox. So, I went forward and picked up the crocodile carcasses, starting to devour them wildly. To eat others' leftovers with such dominance, who else could do it? Congratulations on your first devouring of a king crocodile. You've received a special reward, scales strengthening. Feeling upgraded in defense, I felt even more powerful. Instantly filled with power, I felt good to fight again. I walked step by step towards the king crocodiles, and they began to scatter in all directions. A week later, I improved the burst breath and can successfully have grilled meat. System, I want to sign in. Sign in location, Abyss Island. Sign in reward, A-class skill, radioactive heat ray. An unstable gas generated from the radiation reaction inside a Thunder T-Rex body, which reacts with air friction when expelled, will create a high heat mist flame, also known as the strongest mouth cannon's improved version. My eyes sparkled. Did I possess the body of the European emperor? I've acquired quite a few skills recently. I got burst breath when I first came to the island, an upgraded version of the monster compass 2 days ago, an A-level skill thorn armor yesterday, and a radioactive heat ray today. Even knife 99.99 wouldn't dare give out rewards like this. At that moment, a little rat ran over. It was a prehistoric giant rat, a new friend I had just made. I call it Little Tangerine. It has a very sensitive sense of smell, always arriving on time whenever I have grilled meat, and I always share a piece with it because it reminds me of my once weak self. I am no longer in my juvenile form but a grown form, standing 51 meters tall and weighing 13,525 tons, plus all my special skills. This time I should be able to defeat the ancient ape. So, I decided to meet the ancient ape again and take it as my buddy. Little Cohen, add all the evolution points into my body build. With a flash of white light, I began to evolve. How many meters would I grow this time? I was full of anticipation, but I was completely frustrated the next second. The evolution only made me 0.5 meters taller. I thought there was a bug with the system, but the response I got was, because your level is now high, the evolution points required are also increasing. This is ridiculous. How many years will it take to become a 100-meter monster? Never mind that. I should go and build a relationship with the ancient ape first. After rummaging around, I found a hair that had fallen during my last fight with the ancient ape, and then I let Little Tangerine memorize the ancient ape's scent. I promised it, if it helps me find the ancient ape, I'll supply it with roasted beef for a year. So, under its guidance, I ran towards the den of the ancient ape. Watching me leave, the island's primitive inhabitants held a farewell ceremony for me, celebrating the departure of the god of the plague, never to return. They banged gongs and drums, excitedly. Heaven has eyes. If he didn't leave, he would have eaten up all our families. I'm just going to recruit a little brother. When I return with that foodie, you'll cry with no tears. Under Little Tangerine's lead, I arrived at a desolate part of the island, where an eerie and terrifying aura permeated everywhere. Little Tangerine, are you sure it's here? Did you take the wrong path? This doesn't seem like a place where the ancient ape would live. Moreover, my body monster compass isn't picking up the ancient ape's energy. After receiving a positive answer from Little Tangerine, I walked with it towards the cave. Little Tangerine was trembling so much. What kind of terrifying monster could be in this cave? Don't worry, I've got you covered. What's there to be afraid of? As I entered the cave, a putrid smell hit me. The monster compass still showed no movement, still unable to detect any monster's presence. After walking a bit further, the roar of a monster echoed from within the cave. However, this sound didn't seem to come from the ancient ape. I decided to sneak in for a closer look. I saw cobwebs hanging from the ceiling and unknown monster eggs scattered all over the floor. Could this be a spider's den? After looking around, I discovered a beautiful woman trapped in the cave. The system alerted me. The ape possesses the bloodline of the ancient fierce beast recorded in the classic of mountains and rivers. Having eaten some junk food, it transformed into a human form. Hearing this prompt, my mouth fell open in shock. Damn, is this the ancient ape? How did it turn into a human? And a female at that. The girl looked just as surprised to see me. I bent down, puzzled, and said, "You used to be about the same size as me. How have you become so small?" At this, the girl stuttered, "It's you. What are you doing here?" Wow, the ancient ape actually learned to speak human language. So, I joked, did the ancient ape cultivate to be refined and turn into a little goblin? Just then, the girl shouted, "Watch out. Look around you." I looked up, only to see that a group of ugly creatures had appeared on the cave ceiling. One of them, with a gaping mouth, lunged at me. I grabbed it directly in the palm of my hand. The system prompted, "This ugly creature is called a dead rotten reptile. It possesses the bloodline of the ancient monster Xiang Lu recorded in the classic of mountains and rivers, with a length of 10 to 60 meters meters and a weight of 40 to 100 tons. It lives in groups, has sharp fangs, and a huge biting force, and can spray corrosive venom from its tail. This oversized gecko is the overlord of the underground world of the Abyss Island and the ancient ape's archenemy. Meanwhile, the creature in my hand was still not behaving, attempting to bite my arm. I squeezed hard and burst it. "You dared to bite me." My palm was filled with disgusting liquid. Seeing me kill one of their own, the other monsters stirred. The dead, rotten reptile eyed me fiercely, surrounding me and lunging at me with their gaping mouths. I lifted my foot and stomped. "Disgusting reptile, get away from me." But there were too many of them. Some even climbed onto my back and bit down on my spikes. However, my defensive abilities are not to be underestimated. I shattered their tender teeth. Even so, these creatures continued to climb onto my back. A bunch of overstepping jerks. Think I'm easygoing? I thought. Let me show you how powerful I am. Thorn armor, activate. The fools on my back were instantly turned into honeycomb coal. At that moment, the girl looked at me, her face filled with admiration, my tall and mighty figure deeply imprinted in her mind. But the next second, my image in her heart took a hit because the liquid on my back was just too disgusting. Seeing they couldn't beat me, the dead, rotten reptile turned their attention to the trapped girl and lunged at her, ready to swallow her whole. I lifted my foot and smashed them into a pulp. "With me here, who dares to hurt her?" Seeing how fierce I was, the dead, rotten reptile got scared and started to retreat, preparing to flee. "Did I say you could leave?" I spat out a burst of radioactive heat ray. "You disgusting bastard, just die all of you." As the smell of cooked meat wafted through the air, these little creatures turned to ashes on the spot. I turned around and gave the girl a careful heart sign with my fingers. "Don't worry, I'll protect you." Then, I cautiously used my claws to cut the object binding the girl's arms and watched as she struggled free from her restraints. After seeing the girl free herself, I coughed lightly and asked her how she transformed into a human. The girl slowly backed away, beginning to search for something. She picked up a large bone and smashed it against the rocks. I thought she was looking for a weapon to fight me, so I quickly explained, "Don't be scared, Lin Shen, never bully women." She broke the rock and took out a leftover fruit core, stuttering, "Eating this, I turned into what I am now." I was astonished. "You turned into a human by eating this fruit? Could this be the legendary devil fruit, or perhaps a transforming pill in fantasy novels?" To ultimately win over the little ape girl, I decided to start by conquering her stomach. "Next, watch what I do for you." I arranged the firewood into a small hill shape, then ignited it with the burnt breath. Even so, my little ape girl was trembling with fear. I skewered and roasted the dead, rotten reptile. I refused to eat such disgusting things, but for the sake of the ape girl and evolution points, I should eat it even though it's disgusting. However, it looks delicious after being roasted. Even the ape girl started drooling. After a while, I handed the cooked meat to the ape girl and little Tangerine, and they began to eat heartily. "How is it? It tastes good, right? This is called a skewer." While eating, I asked the ape girl, "Although I like how you look now, can you change back to your original form? If you had transformed back into the ancient ape earlier, you wouldn't have been bullied by those reptiles." The ape girl replied while eating, "I can't change back." I thought to myself, how laid back can this girl be? In this primitive forest full of monsters, she wouldn't see the sun tomorrow in this form, yet she still eats so happily. If she hadn't met me today, she probably would have been eaten without a trace left by now. So, I asked the system if there was a way to change her back. The system confidently stated, "Of course I can." This system is a science beast. However, I need to analyze the fruit and modify its components to allow the ape girl to revert to her original form. Even better, after the modification, she could freely switch between human and monster form. Hearing this news, I was extremely excited. As the system says, could I also freely switch between human and monster forms? I could return to the human world and reunite with my family. So, I asked the ape girl if she remembered where she had picked the fruit. The ape girl stuttered, "Cliff, pile of bones." Following the principle of not wasting, I stuffed a skewer in my hand into my mouth. Successful devouring of dead, rotten reptile. Evolution points plus 645. Reward, evolution points plus 20,000. Wow, great, so many evolution points. I smirked. Even if this isn't Earth, but another parallel world, and I can't meet my family, at least after I become human, I can pair up with the ape girl and live a happy life on this deserted island. 2 hours later, guided by the ape girl, I arrived at the cliff she mentioned. The area was strewn with human skeletons, looking very terrifying. Just as I was wondering what had happened here, the ape girl pointed ahead and shouted, "The fruit is there." Following the direction of her pointing finger, I saw a large tree bathed in golden light standing on the cliff, laden with fruits. Damn, looking at the shape, it must be right. So, I stretched my limbs, preparing to climb up and pick a few. Just as I was vigorously climbing, a pterosaur flew overhead. A drop of cold sweat fell from me. This guy isn't going to attack me, is it? Being stuck halfway up, if a fight broke out, it would be troublesome. The pterosaur dove down with its mouth wide open. Just when I thought it was coming for me, it snatched a fruit from the tree and swallowed it whole. Right after it swallowed the fruit, it shone with a golden light and then transformed into a human form, fluttering before falling. Those bones on the ground seemed to be the remains of monsters that mistakenly ate the fruit and fell. This is an ominous place. I must pick the fruits and leave quickly. Just then, a massive monstrous bird landed on the cliff top and stared at me with its its crimson eyes. The system alerted. This monstrous bird is called the Deathlark, possesses the bloodline of the ancient beast Yuchang, a mysterious large bird. Its appearance is always accompanied by death. The arrival of this creature gave me an ominous feeling. I thought it might be the guardian beast of this fruit tree, but the bird kept staring down. What does its expression mean? It looks almost like it is mocking me. Even so, I dared not act rashly. This isn't my home turf. Seeing that it was just staring at me without any intention to attack, I slowly continued climbing upwards. Upon reaching the tree, I spoke. "Hello there, big brother bird. A friend told me the fruits here are delicious, so I came to try some." I assumed it consented, so I picked 2 fruits. "Thank you, big brother bird. I won't bother you any longer. Farewell." The big bird showed anger when I didn't eat the fruits on the spot. It expected me to swallow the fruits immediately, and then transform into a human form and fall to my death. It suddenly spread its wings, dozens of meters wide, and emitted an unpleasant cry. I was startled, wondering what it was up to. It then leaped and dived down at speed. I quickly dodged its attack with a swift jump to the side. Does this bird have a problem? It was fine just a moment ago. Why did it turn hostile so suddenly? Just over 2 fruits. Is it really necessary? So, I asked Little Kun to quickly store the fruits in the system, as it would be too inconvenient to carry it around. Little Kun took the fruits and asked if I wanted to analyze them now, but analyzing the fruit requires 100,000 evolution points, and I currently only have 93,310 evolution points, not enough to proceed. Are you playing with me? Why mention analyzing if it's not possible? Had I known, I wouldn't have wasted my evolution points. Do you see what's happening right now? Your host is very busy. Just then, the Deathlark stretched out its claws towards me. Its claws scratched me, causing even my tough skin to scream in pain. As it prepared to attack again, I countered with a dragon tail whip, forcing it back, then quickly charged up a radioactive heat ray. "I'll turn you into a roasted bird." With a boom, the strongest mouth breath fired. To my surprise, this powerful mouth breath had recoil. I hadn't noticed this on land before, and it caused my shot to veer off course. Even so, it set the big bird's feathers on fire and plummeted straight down. I knew this wouldn't cause much damage to it. Due to the recoil, my strongest attack couldn't hit the Deathlark accurately. I needed to find the perfect opportunity to give it a solid burst breath and take it out for good. Sure enough, after falling for a while, the flames on its feathers went out, and it flew up again. I timed it perfectly, jumped onto its back, quickly stabilized my position, mounted it, and then bit into its neck. Haha, I'm now a big bird's knight. With this bite, the Deathlark became furious, dramatically increasing its speed. It spun and leaped in the air while I clung on tightly, letting it thrash around. Seeing it couldn't shake me off, the Deathlark soared higher into the sky. Moments later, it shot through the clouds at an unbelievable speed, even causing a sonic boom. I turned to admire the beautiful view below and couldn't help but reflect. I had never flown on a plane in my previous life, but now that I've become a monster, I can experience the thrill of soaring through the clouds. Just as I was reflecting, the Deathlark suddenly accelerated, turned around, and flew towards the cliff below. This unsettled me. Just as I was crying my eyes out, thinking I had encountered a crazy bird and was about to meet my demise, I unexpectedly spotted a lake not far away. So, I thought, if I used the recoil of the burst breath to propel myself into the lake, with my current tough defense, I might still have a chance to survive. Once I decided, I began to gather energy. Don't blame me for being ruthless. Remember, never mess with the honest ones. With a thunderous noise, the burst breath hit the back of the Deathlark, and the recoil blasted me upwards while the Deathlark smashed hard towards the cliff above. I, on the other hand, fell towards the lake. At that moment, the ape girl clung tightly to my body, tears streaming down her face. With a splash, we plunged into the water, causing a huge spray. The Deathlark hit the cliff, its head striking the transformation fruit tree, scattering the fruits all around. With a loud bang, the Deathlark fell directly into a pile of bones. As the ape girl and I surfaced, we saw the Deathlark lying not far away. I laughed heartily. "Sister Ape, we've won. We will eat chicken tonight." Just then, a transformation fruit fell directly into my mouth and slid down. What just fell in? I looked at the floating pieces of the transformation fruit tree on the water and thought, it's the transformation fruit. A flash of golden light shone on my body. I don't want to shrink. I want to stay a monster. After the golden light, the transformed me was revealed. This is me after the transformation. I must look great without even looking. And check out these muscles. Totally a hunk. But why is there still this tiny pigtail after transforming? What's up with that? After inspecting my body, I felt it was too dangerous now. So, I stayed underwater, quietly observing whether the Deathlark was dead or not. If the Deathlark were dead, I'd go up and nibble on it to gather enough evolution points to analyze the transformation fruit and change back. As I was thinking about how to eat the chicken, the Deathlark on the pile of bones moved. I spat out a mouthful of water. Damn, how is this guy not dead after that fall? I saw the Deathlark slowly stand up, its mouth holding the corpse of the transformed pterosaur, and above the corpse, a green crystal floated. I was puzzled, not knowing what that crystal was. I saw it toss the corpse aside and bite into the green crystal. After swallowing it, its wounded body began to heal visibly fast. Seeing this, my face was filled with disbelief, and I became even more curious about what that thing was. A moment later, the Deathlark stood up, flapped its wings, wings and staggered into the distance. Luckily, it didn't notice me or I would have died. However, watching my evolution points fly away, I felt very downhearted. I need to find a place to hide quickly. I need to gather evolution points first. I have to find some small animals to devour. If that fails, even consuming the bodies of other monsters will do. Need to gather enough evolution points. Had I known this, I would have bitten off a few pieces of meat from that death lark earlier. Just then, the ape girl shouted, "Hurry, there's danger behind." I turned around and saw a king crocodile with blood-red eyes appearing behind me, its wide mouth charging at me. I jumped to the side to dodge its attack. "You really lack martial honor. You're so big yet you're using sneaky attacks." That's when I noticed several more king crocodiles nearby, all eyeing me hungrily and charging towards me. Good heavens, are you addicted to playing with me? I don't want to die. I want to become a monster. I suddenly unleashed a primitive force, leaving the king crocodiles far behind. Could this be the potential that bursts out when a crisis strikes? Just as I was feeling proud, a king crocodile suddenly appeared in front of me, blocking my path. At that moment, I didn't have time to think and decided to make a desperate move. I charged at the king crocodile and grabbed its huge mouth. Crocodiles have powerful jaw-closing muscles with impressive biting force, but their jaw-opening muscles are much weaker, making it surprisingly easy for an adult to keep its mouth shut. Before I could feel cool for 3 seconds, I realized a serious problem. The king crocodile's eyes turned red. I was in a dilemma. If I let go, I would be swallowed by the king crocodile in front of me, and if I didn't, I would be eaten by the other king crocodiles rushing over. Just then, I heard the ape girl's voice, "Grab the vine." As the king crocodile opened its mouth to bite, I escaped from its jaws. The ape girl pulled me to safety on the shore. Although my landing posture wasn't very graceful, it was better than losing my life. Just as I was relieved to have saved my life, the ape girl executed her signature move against the king crocodile. Just then, another king crocodile suddenly burst out of the nearby lake, opening its huge mouth and charging at us. We quickly jumped back, dodging its attack. It bit directly into a tree. I hadn't expected these guys to have learned how to ambush. The ape girl was still not giving up and let out a strange roar at it. "What are you yelling for? Think you're still that big hunk? What's the use of pretending to be fierce? Just run." I grabbed her and started sprinting away. I don't know if it was because of her provocation or because we had eaten too many king crocodiles earlier, but this creature chased us fiercely. At this moment, the system chimed in with a tease. "Poor host, so you had such small days too." I shouted angrily, "Shut up," and then asked Little Kuin if I can be on credit and analyze the transformation fruit first, but the system said it was a principled Kuin and couldn't analyze without enough evolution points. I immediately dropped my male pride and pleaded pitifully, "My little ancestor, forget about principles. Can't you make an exception? Do you really want me to get eaten?" But this stubborn Kuin wouldn't budge and even told me to take it or leave it, showing no mercy at all. "But this form of mine won't do. I might get eaten before I even get censored." The system laughed so hard that tears came out, saying I could get a skin for signing in. A flash of blue light passed, and a cool skin appeared on my body. Before I could even admire it, the ape girl suddenly sped up and leaped onto a large tree. Wow, this ape girl is getting smarter. She already knows how to use her skill. She shouted at me, "Danger behind. Climb up quick." Although I was terrible at sports in my past life, I had no choice but to give it my all now. Oh man, I jumped up high, just high enough to dodge the king crocodile's attack, and quickly scrambled up the tree. This feeling definitely isn't just potential unleashed by crisis. In my past life, no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't even do a pull-up. It seems that even though I'm in human form now, my physical condition is still infinitely stronger than before. I yelled with joy, "This is great." Just then, with a bang, the king crocodile slammed its body against the tree. My feet slipped, and I didn't hold on tightly enough, so I fell straight down. Just as I was falling from the tree and about to be eaten by the watchful king crocodile, the ape girl timely pulled me up and, with a look of disdain, called me an idiot. I thanked her with a smile on my face, but thought to myself, I can't believe this silly girl is mocking me. We climbed all the way up to the top of the tree. I lay on the trunk, gasping for breath, while below, the king crocodiles kept slamming their bodies against the tree. Having escaped danger, I began to boast, "You think you little bugs can handle me? Trying to shake such a thick tree? That's really overestimating your strength." At that moment, the ape girl slowly moved closer, staring at me with wide eyes. When I thought she was captivated by my handsome appearance, she started comparing our heights and mocked me for becoming so small. I was furious. "How am I small? You want to fight?" Just then, the ape girl suddenly got very angry. Just as I thought she was going to fight me, she pulled me behind her and then started shouting upwards. A giant snake was there, hissing, eyeing us menacingly. The system then alerted, "Prehistoric python, 70 meters long, 5 meters wide, weighing 70 tons. Although non-venomous, it likes to hide in trees and sneak up on prey under trees. When one wave settles, another arises." Seeing the system's alert, I yelled at Little Coin, "I appreciate the system compass you gave me. It's so useful, not alerting me when there's danger, but always reminding me that my opponents are stronger." "Mr. Snake, is there some misunderstanding? I haven't eaten any of your kind before. What do you mean by this?" To the prehistoric python, I was like an ant. Its tail swept towards us, and the ape girl and I quickly jumped away to dodge. The next second, she pulled me up like flying a kite, and we swiftly escaped. escaped. We began leaping from tree to tree, evading the prehistoric python's pursuit. While running, I asked Little Quinn, "Can you give me back my transformation fruit? I want to throw it into the prehistoric python's mouth, make it transform into a human and fall to the king crocodiles." But Little Quinn pulled out a bill. The system stated it needed 100,000 evolution points to analyze. I thought it didn't understand my request, so I explained again, "I don't want to analyze. I want you to give the fruit back to me." Little Quinn responded, "Then you also need to pay 100,000 evolution points to start the procedure, and then you can terminate." I was immediately confused. If I had enough evolution points, wouldn't it be better to analyze the fruit directly? Why bother terminating it? "I think you just want to kill me. You're so inflexible, such a rigid mind. I'm going to file a complaint against you. 0 stars. Just then, the prehistoric python suddenly appeared, slammed into the ape girl, and opened its gaping mouth to bite her. Without much thought, I leaped forward, pushing the ape girl away from the prehistoric python's mouth. The ape girl screamed, while I was swallowed by the prehistoric python. At that moment, I closed my eyes, sliding down the prehistoric python's esophagus. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself in a place emitting a foul smell that made me sick. Was I eaten by the prehistoric python? Is this its stomach? Perhaps because my physical condition has strengthened, I haven't yet felt the corrosion of stomach acid. But if I stay here long, I know I will surely die. I must find a way to escape soon. So, I began to gather energy, preparing to try with a human body to see if I could unleash a burst breath. That way, I could burn a hole to escape. Just as I had gathered enough energy, Little Quinn hurriedly stopped me, indicating that if I continued to gather energy, I would burst apart first. In my human form, I can't withstand such immense energy. The energy currently gathered in your mouth, although it's less than a millionth of what's needed for a burst breath, it can enhance your biting and swallowing abilities. Don't be stubborn, be flexible, and turn the burst breath into a burst bite instead. You should know what to do next. I immediately felt that Little Quinn made a lot of sense. Why not devour the python's innards to gain evolution points? Just gather enough evolution points that are needed for the analysis, and I can transform back into a monster again. I bit down on the python's innards. While eating here is a bit disgusting, I had to endure it to stay alive. I must say, the taste really hits you, like eating a pair of stinky socks for a week. The moment I swallowed, the system's notification arrived. You have successfully devoured a prehistoric python. Evolution points plus 150. Hearing this long-missed system reward, I immediately got excited. A few more bites, and I'll have enough evolution points. The system notifications kept coming, and my evolution points shot up. I was voraciously devouring from within, and the prehistoric python outside couldn't take it anymore, gnashing its teeth and rolling around in pain, eventually falling from the tree. I also started dancing inside. It feels like car turnover. I was furious. No amount of tossing can stop me from biting you to create a hole in your stomach. Just then, the stomach walls of the python began to contract, trying to vomit me out. I used my hands and feet to prop up its stomach walls, not letting it succeed. Now you're tasting the consequences of trying to eat me. Where did that spirit go when you tried to eat me? Too late. It's easy to invite a deity in, and hard to send one out. I'm not leaving. At this moment, Little Quinn informed me that my current evolution points were at 100,090 and asked if I wanted to analyze the transformation fruit. My eyes lit up. Finally, I would be able to analyze the transformation fruit. However, the analysis speed was as slow as a snail, estimated to take 30 minutes. Thinking that I had to stay in this disgusting place for another half hour, I angrily said, "Little Quinn, can't the analysis be any faster?" Little Quinn replied, "Pay 1,000 evolution points to speed up the progress by 20%. I grabbed its little face and gave it a loving squeeze. Evolution points, evolution points. Everything you do needs evolution points. You are more like a point-obsessed Quinn. Little Quinn immediately explained, "I don't want to either. Evolution points are like gasoline to a car. Without evolution points, the system can't operate. I don't believe you. You are a cruel system, Quinn. You tricked me into eating such horrible stuff." I began another round of devouring. Thus, with tears, I continued to devour the prehistoric python. Evolution points plus 150, plus 130, plus 140. After some effort, the analysis progress reached 25%. However, the analysis was not yet successful. I still needed to work hard. I became a little devil again, tearing into the prehistoric python's innards. The prehistoric python began thrashing again, banging against the tree. With my continuous efforts, the analysis progress bar finally reached 100%. The analysis and reforming of the transformation fruit completed. Would you like to retrieve the fruit? The transformation fruit had now turned from its original red to green, so I eagerly began to eat it. The taste is not bad, a bit like papaya. I quickly finished the entire transformation fruit and even burped satisfyingly. Finally, I can turn back into a monster. I shouted, "Transform." My body began to make creaking noises, and I excitedly started yelling, "Python, get ready to burst." But the next second, I was speechless. "Little Quinn, you're not tricking me. Why hasn't anything changed?" Little Quinn leisurely sipped its little coffee, then explained, "When I analyzed the transformation fruit, I found that it contained an energy not of this world. This energy causes monsters to condense their life essence into a fist-sized crystal nucleus. After consuming the transformation fruit, the monsters lose lose their life essence and thus transform into humans. After my modification, you only need to use your mental power to sense the presence of the crystal nucleus, then break the crystal nucleus with your mind. Guide the energy within the crystal nucleus into your limbs and bone, and you can become a monster again. Hearing this explanation, I couldn't help but feel a bit angry. Are you sure I haven't crossed over to a cultivation world? The crystal nucleus you're talking about, isn't that just like the golden elixir in a person's body while in the golden elixir stage from the novel? Others break the pills to become infants. I freaking break the nucleus to become a monster. Little Kuan smiled and said, Kuan does not lie. Try it, and you'll know if it's true or not. Do I also need to find an enlightenment stone and then meditate on it for 7 days and nights or something? Little Kuan said there's no need for that much trouble. Just close your eyes and feel it. So, I closed my eyes and began to feel the location of the crystal nucleus. Soon, I discovered a glowing crystal nucleus. I can't believe I found it. But next, how do I break the crystal nucleus and guide the energy into my limbs? Then, I remembered how my teacher in my previous life taught in class how to channel strength to our arms and wrists when throwing a shot put. Could feeling the power of the crystal nucleus be similar to feeling the power of the muscles? Thus, I began trying to sense the energy of the crystal nucleus. In my past life, I was weak, but in this life, I am a monster. When I tried, I indeed sensed the energy within the crystal nucleus. The crystal nucleus was successfully shattered, and the power began to flow into my limbs and bones. This time it couldn't be wrong. Prehistoric python, here I come. At this moment, the belly of the prehistoric python outside began to swell increasingly, and it let out a painful roar. With a bang, I successfully transformed into a monster, bursting its stomach. The prehistoric python was left with a burial mound on the spot. I finally transformed back. Ape Girl was extremely happy to see me, while the king crocodile was so scared that tears welled in its eyes. But even so, I didn't plan to let them go. All you reptiles, didn't you enjoy bullying me earlier? Are you ready to face my wrath? After a while, these creatures paid with their lives for their actions. I piled them up, preparing for a roasting feast. This time, picking the transformation fruit almost cost me my life. Thank God I'm so lucky, or I would have died. As I was threading them onto skewers, I thought to myself, I'll never transform into a human form again. It's just too damn scary. At this time, Ape Girl and Little Tangerine were not idle. They were helping to pile up some firewood. I expelled a burst breath to ignite the wood and couldn't help but reflect. It's better to be a monster. Although this appearance leaves something to be desired, I am still the king of monsters. At this moment, Ape Girl said something at my feet, but her voice was too soft. I couldn't hear clearly. Then she shouted at the top of her lungs, how did you suddenly change back? And why are you so much taller than the last time we fought? As I grilled the skewers, I replied, I always had a disciplined life, not picky about food. That's why I grew quickly and tall. I won't just casually reveal my secrets. Ape Girl was speechless at this response. Soon, the skewers in my hand were roasted to a golden brown. I handed one to the eager Ape Girl and Little Tangerine, and I swallowed the prehistoric python in one gulp. Although eating its innards had traumatized me, for someone like me who passionately devours food, wasting it is a disgrace. Congratulations on you first devouring a prehistoric python. You received one life fruit. The life fruit contains huge energy for life, can easily heal even severe injuries or near-death states. I looked at the life fruit with disdain. Little Kuan, are you sure you haven't made a mistake? Isn't this just a bitter gourd? Little Kuan turned into a little professor, explaining, it only looks like a bitter gourd. Besides, what's wrong with bitter gourd? They contain a lot of protein, crude fiber, amino acids, and various minerals with a high carbohydrate content, making them really beneficial. They have effects such as cooling the body, relieving fatigue, and improving eyesight. Little Kuan, I'm impressed with you. A perfectly good life fruit, and you had to make it look like my most hated bitter gourd. Watching Ape Girl wolf down her food, I suddenly remembered that the injuries I had inflicted on her during our last fight hadn't yet healed. So, I handed her the life fruit, saying it was a fruit. Ape Girl took a big bite of the life fruit, but the moment she swallowed it, her face turned green, and she started to feel sick. She threw the life fruit to the ground, sticking out her tongue and saying, that's bitter. Just then, a faint green light emitted from her body, and she suddenly felt her wounds no longer hurt. They healed quickly. This healing effect made her forget the bitterness of the life fruit, and she started to eat it voraciously. After finishing the life fruit, Ape Girl used her signature move and shouted to the sky, this feels great. I am full of energy. Seeing this, I couldn't help but sweat a little and advised her, Ape Girl, you need to change this habit of yours. Don't just start shouting and pounding everywhere. If it weren't for this habit, your wounds would have healed much sooner. Ape Girl looked at me strangely. When you encounter a monster, just shout and the problem is solved. No need to fight, right? No need to fight. But why did you start beating me up without any reason the first time we met, even when I was about to leave? Ape Girl explained, you were so irritating back then. Anyone who dares to steal my food must be beaten down. Her words made me ponder. Indeed, to defend food and territory, a couple of shouts and, if necessary, a fight could settle the matter. Simple and straightforward. No ill intentions. If I roar now, won't it be impressive? This is the genuine dragon's breath. So there I was, chuckling to myself, imagining how a single shout from me would make the prehistoric python and the king crocodile cower and tremble in fear. Ape Girl looked at me with with a strange expression. I quickly said, "Hurry up and eat, gather enough evolution points, and I can help you turn back into an ancient ape." Speaking of helping her transform back, even I, as a monster, was nearly killed by that strange bird. How did you eat the transformation fruit and still manage to avoid the strange bird? Why were you captured by the dead rotten reptiles? Ape Girl recalled. At that time, I climbed up the cliff, picked the fruit, and threw it into my mouth. Hearing this, I immediately imagined the scene where the ancient ape, after eating the fruit, turned into a human form and fell downwards. While lost in my fantasy, Ape Girl handed me a big bone. "What are you thinking about?" she continued. I held onto the wall after I fell. Just then, with a bang, a dead rotten reptile seemed to have been knocked down by something. Out of curiosity, I slowly crawled over and saw many dead rotten reptile fighting with the strange bird. It was a large cave. Although the strange bird was powerful, there were too many dead rotten reptile. Soon, the big bird was overwhelmed, pinned down on the ground, and even the feathers on its head were all plucked out. The deathlark was bullied by the dead rotten reptile too. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Should I maybe talk to that deathlark? I've been hiding in the shadows, secretly watching. Ape Girl continued. The strange bird struggled hard to break free from those dead rotten reptile, and then quickly fled the cave, and they caught me. This surprised me. I hadn't realized that Ape Girl had been captured from the cliff and taken to the cave. Why didn't they just eat you? Ape Girl's expression became serious. The reason they didn't eat me might have been that they wanted to offer me to the leader of the dead rotten reptiles. The dead rotten reptiles want to make you their queen? At this point, Ape Girl's expression gradually darkened. Abyss Island used to be a very beautiful island, inhabited by a tribe of ancient apes who looked indistinguishable in terms of age and gender. My family and I lived a carefree life. The sudden appearance of the dead rotten reptile disrupted the peace of Abyss Island. They ruined the whole island and caused disaster in the ecological environment. No wonder their cave is so lifeless and gloomy. To restore the former vitality of Abyss Island, my parents and some other monsters on the island found the dead rotten reptile's nest, intending to eradicate them completely, but they never returned. After I grow up, I joined the cause to protect the island. I want to bring my parents home, probably because I carry the scent of my parents. The dead rotten reptile have always wanted to capture me. I comforted her. "Don't worry, Ape Girl, since you're like my sister, I will help you achieve your goal. You are not alone in this fight anymore. Abyss Island is my second homeland, and I will not let dead rotten reptiles destroy it." Being able to defeat Ape Girl's parents and many monsters, the king of the dead rotten reptiles must be powerful. I need to level up quickly now, and once I evolve into 100 meters tall, I will have a good fight with it. Ape Girl is still as impulsive as ever, often thumping her chest and yelling. I can't do much about her. She doesn't care about maintaining a ladle-like image at all. Just then, I heard a strange noise. I saw two big cats slowly approaching Ape Girl. The monster compass alerted. Giant Smilodon, 8 meters in length, weighing 24 tons, equipped with huge sharp teeth, making it a natural hunter's. But what they don't know is I'm using Ape Girl as a bait. Just as these two dummies timed their pounce on Ape Girl, I stepped on their short legs, and with a snap, made the giant Smilodon eat dirt. The giant Smilodon, realizing it was me, immediately panicked. "You lechers, you hid away when I'm out." Yet as soon as Ape Girl steps out, you couldn't wait to pounce her. I bit down hard, cooling this guy off. In the blink of an eye, it turned into delicious roasted meat. Meanwhile, I was grilling skewers, looking around Ape Girl's nest. It should be called her bedroom. All these bones scattered around. It doesn't look like a girl's room at all, but using Ape Girl to attract monsters is really convenient. So I asked Ape Girl, "Why are there so few monsters in your territory?" She naively replied, "There are not many monsters here. I used to eat 8 meals a day, but lately, it seems like there aren't many monsters around." Hearing her answer, I immediately understood the reason. It turns out you've eaten all the nearby monsters to extinction. Your intelligence worries me. You've killed them all up, but she casually said, "So now I just hunt in different territories." Hearing this, I immediately scolded her. Even if you change territories, you must think about sustainability. Don't kill them all. At this rate, you'll eat the entire island's monsters to extinction. Just as my words ended, Ape Girl suddenly felt something wrong and clutched her chest, falling to the ground in severe pain. Little Tangerine and I were shocked, and we quickly asked Ape Girl where she felt unwell. Ape Girl said her heart hurt a lot. At this moment, Little Quinn explained that this might be a side effect of staying in human form for too long. Her body was on the verge of collapsing. Seeing my confused face, Little Quinn explained the transformation fruit forcibly condenses a monster's life essence into a small crystal nucleus, which is very dangerous. Monsters don't know how to control this energy properly, and this excessive release of life essence can cause explosions. Thus, staying transformed for too long can lead to cardiac rupture. Ape Girl has been transformed for a week now. You just cared about turning back into a monster, and now look. Luckily, she was originally a powerful monster, and you gave her the life fruit, which is why she's held on this long. I quickly asked Little Quinn if there was any way to save her. My current evolution points are far from enough to modify the transformation fruit. Little Quinn replied, "What else can you do? You must gather 100,000 evolution points as soon as possible." So I frantically devoured giant Smilodon meat, but the evolution points gained were just a drop in the bucket, nowhere near enough. Little Quinn is even ignoring its host, let alone caring for Ape Girl. Begging is a waste of time, as no more monsters are left in the Ape Girl's territory. We must go elsewhere. So, I opened the monster compass and located a particularly bright spot, indicating a powerful monster likely rich in evolution points. Thus, I took the Ape Girl with me, preparing to head towards the monster's location. Although I'm unsure if I can defeat that monster, for Ape Girl, even the always timid me is prepared to go all out this time. So, I told little Tangerine to find a place to hide while I dashed towards the monster. As I ran wildly, I startled many creatures, including a polypetid that lunged at me, which I slapped away forcefully, saying, "What a disgusting thing. I would never eat you." But these creatures all jumped at me, and before I knew it, I was ambushed by one of them. The polypetid jumped into my mouth. You have successfully devoured a polypetid. Evolution points plus 150. Congratulations on your first devouring of a polypetid. You have received a special reward of plus 2000 evolution points. Hearing the significant increase in evolution points for Ape Girl, I decided to activate the frenzied feasting mode, eating as I went. Even if it's excrement, I dare to eat it raw as long as it increases evolution points. You have successfully devoured an Arthropleura, ancient scorpion, Meganura. Along the way, my evolution points surged, reaching 22,670. However, at that moment, my nose began to bleed. I wonder why I encountered only toads and insects along the way, which are unpalatable. My nose is bleeding. Are they rich in nutrients? Just then, a roar came from the foot of the nearby mountain. Hearing this sound, I was extremely excited. Great, now I have something else to devour. Following the sound of the monster, I arrived at the foot of the mountain and saw a pack of spiny jackal howling around something. Spiny jackal, ranging from 10 to 30 meters in length and weighing 30 to 90 tons. A ferocious animal with a powerful bite force and great agility. They have hard, sharp spines on their vertebral regions. Opposite them was a 35-meter long, 105-ton giant sloth. At that moment, it was emitting angry roars at the spiny jackal. Confronted by the attacking spiny jackal, the giant sloth slapped one away, its sharp claws eviscerating the spiny jackal, killing it instantly. Coincidentally, this spiny jackal was flung right into my mouth. Seeing their companion killed, a large number of spiny jackals began to attack the giant sloth, and a fierce battle ensued. I tasted the spiny jackal while watching their fight. The more intense the battle, the better, and it would be even better if both sides were heavily injured, sparing me the effort. After a while, the spiny jackal suffered heavy casualties, and the giant sloth had expended a lot of energy. When I thought the fight was about to end, the giant sloth suddenly exerted force, flinging all the wolves on its body away, then charged towards me. Could it be that the giant sloth had noticed me? Seeing its momentum, I can't stop it at all. I can't confront it head on. So, I stealthily moved to the side, and while it wasn't paying attention, I swept its legs with my tail. It plunged into the ground, creating a small mound. I stepped on it with my foot and tore a large chunk of meat right off its back. You have successfully devoured a giant sloth. Evolution points plus 500. Wow, this meat is delicious. While enjoying my meal, a spiny jackal pounced at me, lining up and baring its teeth at me. One of them, particularly bold, lunged at me. I bit it directly. It let out a scream, and in an instant, I exerted force with my mouth, splitting its body in two. How dare you disturb my dinner? The spiny jackal were completely enraged by me, roaring and charging at me. I let out a furious roar, the fire of battle fully ignited by them, starting with a hand-torn spiny jackal meat appetizer, followed by a dragon tail sweep that split one spiny jackal in two. Then I squashed another with my foot. Just then, a spiny jackal took the opportunity to climb onto my back, preparing to ambush me. Ape Girl noticed that. Dragging her immobile body, Ape Girl roared at the spiny jackal, trying to draw its attention. I took Ape Girl off my shoulder and protected her in my hands. You're in this state and still thinking of taking a hit for me. I bent down to gather energy. Get off of me. Thorn armor instantly activated, and the spiny jackal on my back turned into honeycomb coal. Suddenly, there were spiny jackal corpses under my feet. The remaining spiny jackal, seeing my ferocity, were instantly scared and had no intention of attacking. They all began to howl to the sky. Are they calling their companions for help? That's giving me more evolution points to collect. I like it. Before long, a massive spiny jackal, surrounded by a bunch of smaller spiny jackal, came over. This guy must be the boss of the spiny jackal. The big light shone on the monster compass. Devouring it should earn me quite a few evolution points. So, I buried my head back into the giant sloth. The food right in front of me is the best. Let me eat them first. The spiny jackal, seeing that I ignored it and continued eating, suddenly roared and pounced at me. I immediately got upset. I just want to eat my meal in peace. Why do you always come to disturb me? I opened my mouth wide and lunged forward. The spiny jackal was so frightened that its eyeballs almost popped out. But my target wasn't it, rather the smaller spiny jackal behind it. Move aside, move aside. Good wolves don't block the way. Don't interfere with my meal. I started feasting on its subordinates, ignoring the trembling pack leader behind me. Seeing me ignore it and eat its subordinates right under its nose, it opened its claws and lunged at me again. Just then, I finally gathered enough evolution points. I abruptly stood up to celebrate, and the unfortunate pack leader behind me suffered. The system asked me, current evolution points 100 and 2100. Would you like to analyze and modify the transformation fruit now? I excitedly replied, yes. Start the analysis and modifying immediately. Also, add the remaining evolution points to the progress bar. Analysis and modification in progress. Current progress 40%. Estimated completion time 18 minutes. I looked at Ape Girl curled up on my shoulder, wondering if she could last these 18 minutes, but there was no food around for me to devour anymore. It's all your fault, you jerks, for wasting my time. Just then, I thought of the pack leader I had ignored earlier. It looks like I have to devour you to increase my evolution points. I used the dragon tail whip on it. It jumped to dodge my attack, then roared and lunged at me, which was exactly what I wanted. I bit down on it directly, but it reached out its claws toward my eyes, so I flung it away. At that moment, I tore a chunk of flesh from its back, which kept oozing blood, but even so, it still growled at me. This reminded me of what Ape Girl had said. Monsters would only fight for food and territory. I charged at the wolf. Then why would you stop a foodie from eating? I rammed it with my shoulder. Amidst a thunderous noise, I sent it flying dozens of meters. But even so, it didn't fall. It still bared its teeth at me. So I gathered energy, preparing to hit it with a powerful move. Seeing me serious now, large beads of sweat began to slide down the head of the pack leader, clearly not expecting me to be this strong. With that, I unleashed a radioactive heat ray directly at it. The injured spiny jackal could not dodge my attack and was hit directly. The powerful shockwave reached far, causing even the forest to tremble. As the dust settled, the spiny jackal appeared in a sorry state, its body steaming, not a single hair left, blood continuously dripping from its body. I've invented another remarkable skill, radioactive heat ray hair removal, quick and lasting. The spiny jackal, seeing not a single hair left on its body, shed unwilling tears. It let out a howl into the sky, and soon a few smaller wolves rushed over to protect it tightly in the middle. I grinned. Are you trying to protect your king? But for me, it's just delivering evolution points. However, the spiny jackal did not stop and started howling again. Suddenly, I felt uneasy. Why is it howling again? Could there be some bigger creature nearby? Just then, I noticed someone with a blade on his back standing on the hillside, staring at me with piercing eyes. This was a wolverine, as the bloodline of the ancient beast Chilang recorded in the classics of mountain and seas. It measures 50 meters in length and weighs 150 tons. Moreover, this creature had a strong presence. Seeing this creature, I began to panic a bit. This guy is exceptionally tall, carrying a broad blade, slowly walking over. All the spiny jackal immediately lay prostrate at its feet, like their king. Seeing it, I was visibly annoyed. This guy isn't from the wolf tribe, is he? It's bad enough that it's as big as me, but why does it carry a huge blade? Trying to show off or look cool, I noticed it staring intently at Ape Girl, even seeming to smile at the corners of its mouth. Could this guy also be an old lecher, eyeing Ape Girl? As I was contemplating, this creature suddenly attacked, targeting Ape Girl on my shoulder. I dodged its attack with a sidestep and scoffed. You carry such a fine blade, yet you only pick on the easy targets. But the next second, its claws swiped at my eyes. I was caught off guard and scratched by its claws. I was shocked. Could this guy be trying to deceive me, pretending to attack Ape Girl, but actually aiming for my eyes? While I was pondering, it lunged at me again, and its target was still Ape Girl on my shoulder. I was only focused on protecting Ape Girl, but another wound was left on my face. It was then I realized this creature wasn't employing a feint. It had spotted my weakness. Attacking Ape Girl would distract me. Damn, does this creature have intelligence? At this moment, the wolverine kept running around me, occasionally attacking Ape Girl to distract me, making me extremely angry. I am a human being, the ruler of the earth. You think you can match wits with me? You're far from it. I executed a dragon tail whip, sweeping the skeleton behind me towards it. While it dodged the skeleton, I quickly started to gather the heat ray. The wolverine, seeing this move, instantly recalled the miserable state of the spiny jackal. Boom! I launched the radioactive heat ray directly at it. Unexpectedly, it jumped to the side, dodging the attack, but its front paw was still scorched by my radioactive heat ray. It bared its teeth at me, clearly somewhat angered. I taunted, "Wolf boy, we're even now." At that moment, the wolverine suddenly accelerated, using a large tree as a springboard to leap high into the air. As I watched, puzzled and unsure of its intentions, the creature actually used its mouth to pull out the large blade on its back. Seeing this scene, I was utterly bewildered. Holy shit, it took out a blade. It held the blade in its mouth, raising its head high.